at me, I'm just styling and profiling. What's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Strength Classroom. Today, I'm gonna expand a short that I made about my top 3 favorite deadlift assistance exercises. And someone also asked me if I could make one for squat and bench and just other lifts as well. Of course, I put out a bunch of shorts. I try to put out one a day. And I'm gonna turn those into long videos, the ones that I feel that are worthy. So starting with this one. So what are my top 3 favorite deadlift assistance exercises or deadlift variations? I'm not gonna say, oh, I like doing the leg press to build quad strength. No, these are gonna be like deadlift specific exercises. Number 1, we got the low to mid shin rack pull, but I like it on the lower side, but it does depend on where you get stuck. Now everyone's gonna say, oh, but block pulls are more sport specific or movement specific. Come on, there's a method to the madness all the time. A rack pull, the bar is on the pins. So you really get no flex in the bar in a sense, whereas the weight is on the floor or on the blocks in a typical block pull or deadlift, so you will get some flex. Here, you just have to use your back strength to break the bar off the pins, and it has a very different feeling. One is more sport specific, one is more general, but they both build strength in their own unique way. So if you do nothing but block pulls, try doing a low to mid shin rack pull for a different stimulus. The reason I like these is they're not too far off regular deadlifts. When you add bands, quite possibly chains, it does more for the upper back, but even if you're just using straight weight, your upper back is gonna get blown up. And like I mentioned before, it's hard to break the bar off the pins, so that will enhance your starting strength at the beginning of the pull. And just the range of motion you're using, it's making that part where once you break the bar off the floor to just before lockout, it's really strengthening that area, in addition to your lockout, obviously. And if you do decide to put on bands or chains, it will make your lockout a lot more explosive and a lot stronger. Exercise number 2, deficit deadlifts with chains. This exercise hits the whole range of motion, no matter where you are weak. So let's start off with the deficit. I like anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. You can go higher, but I like to start people off at 2 to 3 inches. The deficit is going to make you better at breaking the bar off the floor. It's gonna build more back strength just because that's what deficits do. Now, when you add chains to the mix, not bands, chains to the mix, it will then strengthen the rest of the range of motion. Your mid shin or middle of the range of motion is going to get stronger just because there's going to be more weight. Then the lockout is going to be greatly improved just because there's going to be the most weight at that point, because that's when the most of the chains is going to be off the floor. Now, I know I said not bands, but if you have bands and not chains, go ahead and use them. Just realize that the strength curve is going to be a little bit different. So what's great about this exercise is it strengthens each portion of the deadlift. Off the floor is going to have the least amount of weight because all the chains are going to be on the floor. Then the middle of the range of motion is going to have a little bit more weight, but then the lockout is going to have the most amount of weight. So it's literally building your deadlift from toe to head, not head to toe. I guess toe to head makes more sense in this regard. And exercise number 3. It's an exercise I've become very, very, very fond of in the past 10 years, let's say, but it's been phased in and out, but I've really started hammering it lately. It's Zerchers or front squats off pins. I prefer Zerchers. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do normal Zercher squats, except you're going to do them as a bottom-up approach. So you're going to set a bar on the pins, and you're going to squat under it, get your elbows under it, and all that stuff, how you would normally set up for a Zercher squat. And then this is almost like a concentric only exercise because you're pretty much gonna just dive bomb it back on the way down like you would a typical rack pull. This is great for your deadlift, but it's great for your squat as well just because of the mechanics of it. This builds brutal core strength, great upper back strength, but what this exercise really, really helps your deadlift with the most is your starting strength off the floor. And as an added bonus, other than just the great leg drive that I just mentioned, it gets the bar out of your hands. So it's like training your deadlift without having to overwork your hands. Sure, you can just use straps, but it's a different stimulus and you get the bar out of your hands. And I once read one time, whether this is true or not, when you get the bar out of your hands, it's less, let's say, stressful on your central nervous system. I don't know if that's true, but if you're looking for another reason to use this exercise, that might be one. So in conclusion, my top 3 deadlift variations or assistance movements, whatever you want to call them, would be the low to mid shin rack pull with bands. If you don't have them, don't worry. Deficit deadlifts with chain. Number 3 would be Zercher squats off pins or Zercher rack pulls. Have a great day.